This week on Route 66. Here's your host, Tim Clark.
Well, good morning. Welcome to another episode of This Week on Route 66. Now, you might remember that last year we did a feature story on the opening of the Illinois Rock and Roll Museum on Route 66, located in Joliet, Illinois. Well, unfortunately, back on July 14th and 15th, a strong tornado ripped through Joliet and damaged the Rock and Roll Museum. Here to tell us more is Ron Romero. Welcome, Ron.
Hello, good morning. How are you?
Yeah, doing fine. So, you had some really bad storms in the middle of July. Tell us what you experienced and what you remember.
So Sunday, July 14th, I got a call from one of our neighbors here at one of the local businesses. She was in tears and said we needed to get downtown right away. So we had seen the storm because we don't live far from here, maybe 10, 15 minutes away. And to be honest with you, I was expecting our big gigantar to have fallen off the front of the building. So we rushed, being my wife and I, rushed down here to see what damage was done. And much to our surprise, gigantar was standing unscathed. And what happened was that there was a building behind us, a 7-story building, I believe it is, that had the entire roof over their HVAC ripped off by the winds. It was a microburst the first day. That roof was about a half a block long, and it covered all their HVACs. It was all metal. And so when we arrived here, my wife and I came around the corner expecting to see gigantor down on the ground, and instead we saw what at the moment we thought was our roof. Even the fire department, the emergency first responders said your roof was ripped off. But what had happened is the roof from the other place came down and, like a torpedo, hit our building really, really hard. It did do damage to the facade. It did do damage to the roof. And fortunately, we got our cleanup crews here. The first one to arrive was here 15 minutes after we were. And they started the recovery process. Thankfully, the first storm was a microburst and didn't last very long. So we were able to start cleaning up right away.
So, you say the first storm. Explain that a little bit more detail. Was there 2 storms over 2 different days, and how big of an area did that cover?
Well, to add insult to injury, we had a microburst on Sunday, and on Monday, my wife and I were taking shelter in our basement because a tornado had touched down in Joliet. The irony of that is that we expected more damage to the museum, and there was a little, but it was very minor damage that was done the second day. The damage, this building's built like a tank. It's built out of concrete, out of fire block, steel studs, and it was built in 1929. They built things differently back then. So it stood, if we would not have been hit by that roof, there wouldn't have been any issues.
That's amazing. Well, we're going to visit with Ron some more in just a minute. But first, Nick, can you tell our viewers how they can participate in future episodes of This Week on Route 66?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Do you have an announcement, a news item, or a product promotion that you'd like to share with the Route 66 community? There are 3 different options for you to share your information. Option 1, call into our studio hotline anytime, any day, and record your voice message. Or Option 2, call in for a voice conversation with a host. Or Option 3, schedule an online video interview. It's free and a fun way to get your information out to the Route 66 community. See our Facebook page for more information. And now back to Tim for more This Week on Route 66.
Well, thanks, Nick. Now, Ron, what's the plan for going forward? Is the museum open? Is it closed? And what's the plan?
So our first plan was we actually moved our gift shop to a different location. We're very thankful. I have to give a shout out to our community here in Joliet. Our local colleges, our local businesses, local trade unions, everybody jumped right in. So we were given an art gallery for the local university here, University of St. Francis. And we were able to set up for the first week our gift shop in that location while we cleaned this area up. And you can kind of see behind me, we're probably about 80% back to square one with our gift shop. So we've opened the doors back here. We are able to come into the building right now. The inside was, there was damage from water, but it was quickly cleaned up. Majority of the damage is on the outside. And the good thing is we're very well insured with the building. So the building will be taken care of. They're replacing and repairing the facade and doing some of the roof. Well, they'll take care of the roof as well and all the structural damage that has happened to us. What really hurt us was our revenue streams were cut. When we moved, a lot of people didn't know we had moved, even though we had signage on the door. You know, we get people from around the world, so I don't know if it was a language barrier or people just didn't want to walk down to 4 blocks to the new location, but it hurt business quite a bit. The unfortunate thing is that mortgage doesn't stop, gas doesn't stop, electric doesn't stop, phone doesn't stop, payroll doesn't stop. So we've been doing some fundraising to help offset that. A lot of private donors and companies pitching in to keep us going here. So I think we're going to know more in the next week or so as our structural engineer comes in to make designs on how they're going to replace the roof. There's a section in the roof. Each floor is about 5,000 square feet. So roof space is about 5,100 square feet. The structural engineer has to come in and figure out, because it's made of concrete and rebar, they'll have to cut that area out and they'll have to put rebar back in, and then they'll have to place forms in place so that they can put the concrete back in. So that's probably one of the biggest jobs. The other part is when the roof hit our roof, it clipped the front of our building, not the back of our building from where it was coming from. And it knocked off what's called the parapet. That's a word that I just learned. I'm not in construction, so I just learned that. If you remember the old Westerns where the guys would stand up on the top of the building and shoot from behind the wall on the top, that's the parapet. That got knocked off, and that'll have to be rebuilt. It also did damage, compression fractures to the facade. It took off some of our terracotta on the front, which is the covering on the building. So all that's going to have to be rebuilt. And we are a landmark, historic landmark here, and we have to follow certain procedures to make sure that we rebuild it the way it looked from when it was built in 1929, 1930, when they opened. So that's all kind of in progress. It starts with the structural engineer making a plan and moving forward with several different contractors, and that's the phase we're in right now.
So I've seen your Facebook post about getting back in the groove. What is getting back in the groove?
I happen to be wearing my Getting Back in the Groove shirt.
Oh, cool. I like it.
This is our campaign to say most people on 66, our friends on 66, all know that we're a grassroots organization. We're not big corporate. We didn't come in here as developers. We are funded by over 1,000 charter members, by sponsors, and everything else. So getting back in the groove is helping us rebuild, helping us make sure that our mortgage is paid, helping to make sure all those things that I mentioned before are being taken care of. So we created this fundraiser rather than going through crowdfunding or something like that. We have our donation page, and we've been sharing that. And we've been very fortunate to get a lot of people that are donating. And I can be honest, we've had everything from $5 to $1,000 on there. And our expenses, despite not having all 3 floors open, they're pretty heavy here. We're talking in the tens of thousands here every month to keep this place operational. So we're very lucky that everybody is starting to pitch in and help. We have a wonderful community here in Joliet, and we have a wonderful family on Route 66 that all is kind of helping us out. So we appreciate it very much.
So How can viewers get more information and how can they donate? Can you tell them a web page or some point of contact that they can get involved?
Sure. Let me give you two things. First of all, if anybody has any questions, they could reach out to me directly. My email is ron@road2rock. That's ROADTOROCK.org. You could reach out to me. I'm happy to answer any questions. The other thing is just visit our website. If you want to learn something about the museum, if you want to help out with the donations, if you want to see what's going on around our museum here, it's also road2rock.org, and that'll take you right to the front page, and you'll see everything there. We have events coming up. Tickets for that help us. Donations help us. We have a merchandise shop, and those are the revenue streams that we have to keep alive and running to make it through this troubled times.
So, folks, this sounds like a great cause, and I hope you'll do your part by helping out with this disaster relief project, getting back in the groove. Thanks for joining us today, Ron.
Thank you, Tim. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you for watching This Week on Route 66. Feel free to share this video link with your friends and family, and be sure to like and subscribe to our channel. Until next time, keep getting your kicks on Route 66.